The Mandalorian, Chapter 22, and oh dear, Chapter 22 already, and it's going nowhere fast. Still no decent bad guy, we're fast running out of time, and only 2 episodes left this season, and we're probably going to get a reheated, tepid boss battle with Moff Gideon again in the finale. This episode, at time of recording, is sitting on a user score of 6.9 on IMDb, the lowest rated episode so far this season, and if it stays there, it will be the lowest rated episode of The Mandalorian so far. And what do you mean this is the lowest rated? This may be the least remedial episode so far this season, and I'm not even sure why people hated it. It even had Christopher Lloyd in it.
Christ! I was frozen today!
Okay.
Yes, that Christopher Lloyd, from Back to the Future, even if I barely recognised him because man is he starting to look frail. But if that's the consensus about the episode, I just don't get it, I'm afraid. Because I didn't find it to be that bad, despite it having both Jack Black and Lizzo in it. And is that it? Are people hating it just for Lizzo? The episode even almost found itself in an interesting and thought-provoking area. But I think Jon Favreau noticed just in time and once again said, "Not on my watch." It could have even been a very good episode if he had explored it, but he didn't. Today I set up a crossover event with popular YouTuber KSI, who came up with the idea of us playing Countdown together. He was very keen for me to try and make a word out of the following selection of letters. I've been looking at it for some time and nope, I can't see a word there, not even a 4-letter word. I'm just not doing it. You're clearly trying to get me cancelled, KSI, and YouTube hate me enough already. I am poking fun a little, but to be fair to the lad, you try and make a word out of that selection of letters. So I'm inclined to not be so harsh on him. He even had to go to a mosque and apologise. And it's life imitating art again. South Park really need to be more careful. Their jokes keep on coming to life.
And now back to Wheel of Fortune!
Audience, keep quiet, please. 10 seconds, Mr. Marsh.
The intro to this episode of The Mandalorian is wildly insulting to the audience though. They do flashbacks to Mando meeting Bo-Katan for the first time, fighting Moff Gideon, the spider robot on Mandalore, and this would not help someone who had not seen the series understand much of what was going on. So I can only presume that this was for people who watched the series, that the writers are afraid will have forgotten the plot even for an episode that was released a week or 2 ago. So what was the interesting idea that Jon Favreau desperately tried to avoid? In the main plot, Mando and Bo-Katan go in search of the Mandos that drop Bo-Katan as their leader, and they end up on a strange alien planet. The planet is all very clean, high-tech, futuristic and beautiful, being ruled over by King Jack Black and Queen Lizzo. And that's good. At least they're not on one of the Mandalorian's 4 planets for once. And there are lots of aliens, including a strange subplot in the episode of a Romeo and Juliet story involving an amorous Mon Calamari. But before they let Mando and company see the rebellious Mandos, who are acting as the planet's security guards, the rulers want Mando to fix a problem for them. Their world runs on droids. The organics live lives of luxury and the droids do all of the work on their planet. And the droids are starting to rebel. They've been going crazy, attacking people and smashing things for a while. So Mando and Bo go to investigate. They talk to the head of security, played by Christopher Lloyd, then talk to some technicians, and somehow the technicians know exactly where the next incident will be, which begs the question of why they haven't solved it. Mando and Bo go there, have a chase and a fight with a runaway slave battle droid in a scene that I'm not sure if it was trying to evoke Blade Runner or not. It has similarities, but it seems unlikely, given I would put money on the Mandalorian script's first draft being in crayon. When they capture the battle droid, they get another clue. Apparently the droid had been going to a droid bar, and this is the scene that was almost thought-provoking. They go to the bar, where all of the droids are conversing with each other, and as Mando steps in, they all stop talking. and this is a similar experience to that of an English person going to a rural pub in Wales. Mando threatens the droid at the bar to get information, and the droid says he wants to help. The droids themselves are worried that if the current rebellion continues, they will be replaced and scrapped. The droids, it seems, don't want to die. The droids in the bar all agree that organics created them, and serving organics in return is the least they can do. And was this part of the episode trying to be deep? Because this is a difficult ethical area now. These droids are clearly sentient. They're not like a washing machine at this point. They have leisure time, they have community, they have hopes for the future, they want to live, and are still being kept as slaves. And if anything, they like it. And they like it because they were created to like it. Now, this is not a new area to touch on. This is a thing that was addressed in films like Blade Runner, or in Star Trek in the episode The Measure of a Man, where there was a trial to determine what rights Data should have as a sentient android, or the Japanese series Ghost in the Shell by Masamune Shirow. It raises the tricky ethical questions of how advanced does an AI have to get before it becomes unethical for humans to deny it rights. Similarly, how intelligent does an animal have to be before we have to reconsider their rights? And Star Wars has been blurring those lines by having clearly sentient creatures in it for some time. How much would the world change if one day in a slaughterhouse, a pig looked up and said to the workers there, "Please don't hurt me, I want to live"? What would we do as humanity? How would we respond to that? Would people still try to act like it was okay because they're lesser? Because historically, that's an uncomfortable argument at best. What do we do when genetic engineering becomes so advanced that we could grow humanoids to be slaves and have them like it? For these droids, they've been given some measure of free will, but all of their inclinations make them want to be slaves. If they misbehave, they're just reprogrammed. And as humanity goes on, how long will it be before the human mind can be reprogrammed like that of the droids? There's so much they could have done here in this episode, and then they didn't. They just did some dumbed down fight sequences instead. Mando finds out that there's something in the oil the droids were being given at the bar. The oil is filled with nanomachines that are making the droids crazy. They track down the source of the nanomachines to Christopher Lloyd, the head of security of the planet, who is apparently a hidden separatist all along, and a follower of Count Dooku. Though the show never explains what his motives were, or what he was hoping would happen by doing what he did. It's all a load of nonsense. Just another character whose thought process works like the underpants gnomes from South Park. Then Mando and Bo go to see the renegade Mandos. Bo-Katan beats their leader in a duel, and they still won't follow her until Mando gives Bo the Darksaber, which he should have done 2 episodes ago, and it's all so predictable. And earlier in the episode, the renegade Mandos were making money by catching the runaway son of a Mon Calamari viceroy who had fallen in love with and run away with a Quarren female. At least I think it's a female, though it's hard to tell. Either way, at least they spare us from a scene of red hot squid on squid action. But if you want that, just a guess, Japan probably has you covered. What a mess. It's all a bit of a f*** up really.
Those look good. A big salty clam would sure go great with this heat.